there. Sorry from 17 once again. This is my Resident Evil 0 S rank hard walkthrough, no healing. At the beginning of this moment here, hold the trigger, you will automatically aim at the guy behind you, put the shots in him until you see him drop, and then spin to fight his buddies. You can skip this sequence if you want to, but you will only be facing these guys later on, so that I recommend that you do not do so. Additionally, reloading in the menus is the fastest way to reload in this game and the safest way to do so. You can do it outside of it, but I do not recommend it because it's a slow animation, it can't seem to be cancelled, and you're stood vulnerable. Do it in the menu, you don't have to put up with it. It's a win-win scenario, make sure you do it. Cruise back into this room, pick up the key off this corpse. Once you do this, it's going to trigger a cutscene, and then we're going to immediately get assailed by dogs. So aim and mash the L1 so that you automatically aim on the dog, and the moment you hear yourself hitting it, don't relent, just shoot the tits off it. Then move over here as the glass breaks, get a full clip in your gun, and then once again wait till you see Rebecca, aim on it, mash that L1 to get that lock on, and as soon as you see it, hit it, and then do not stop until you kill this thing. The dogs take about 5 bullets to go down. It all depends. I'm not too sure on the damage variables on this game. I know that the pistol does around 5 damage, thanks to Furry Wolf, who is a pretty damn knowledgeable Resident Evil player. I know she does speedruns and she plays other games, but she explained to me that it was 5 damage, and then there's a drop-off zone at a distance where it loses a little bit of damage, and then if you get the custom handgun parts, you can increase the damage to 7. But we won't be doing that because I kind of got pissed off, but I'll tell you when that happens. So this is the first save room of the game. I'm going to be saving quite a lot because the resets on this game are rather severe. There are no checkpoints in this game, folks, and speed is everything. In this first room, you can cut a straight line through it without either of the zombies bothering you, as long as you're quick. If you hesitate, then you have to entertain them, and that's when things get tricky. So cut a straight line and hit this door, throw away the key, meet up with Billy, and then head upstairs. We're going to trip a cutscene here that introduces the first Leech Man. Do not waste ammo on him. Go back to that stairwell and it will cue the cutscene of him dying. Once you do that, you're now going to be introduced to the concept of using 2 characters. And what's going to happen here is, I recommend taking Rebecca onwards because she is the weaker character, and leaving Billy in this room. I'm going to bring him with me, and it's just going to lose time and waste your time. But unfortunately, I was still quite new to this game, even though I played it a very long time ago. But movement on top of this train is kind of weird. At the beginning it can be difficult to get momentum and push forward because your character kind of doesn't move. I don't know why it does that, but I remember not liking that on the GameCube version, so I'm almost certain that that's been inherited. But the sequence here is, whoever touches this cable will be out of commission for a while, and the other person has to do all the action. Rebecca takes 3 grabs from zombies before she dies. Billy takes considerably more, so he's the person you want to be carrying around, unless you're, you know, some kind of crazy feminist and you think that that's insulting and you want to do everything with Rebecca, which is mighty admirable, but I wouldn't recommend it, even though my girlfriend was giving me shit when I was explaining this to her because she didn't like the concept of the girl being weaker. But it's just, I'm sorry guys, Japanese people, you know, they've got a very specific idea of men and women roles, so make me sake and rub my shoulders, bitch. But pick up the key, put it into the dumb waiter thing, send it up, or send it down, depending on where it's going, and then swap out by pressing Y. You're now going to be in control of Billy, and you'll notice he won't move, and I'm using the updated control scheme, and I'm using the control scheme that lets left trigger be aim and right trigger be fire, because I don't like holding buttons to run and all this kind of stuff if I can avoid it, and you can on this game, which is tremendous. But backtrack across this train. All of this can be avoided if you leave Billy in that room and he can just pop down the stairs, but I didn't do that because I'm a noob. So cruise across this cart, hit the stairs. From now you're going to go underneath here into this kitchenette area, and then right round this corner to hit where the key was. This key is going to open the door that we passed when we got the very first key of the game before we got attacked by the dogs. So now we have to backtrack all the way across the train. And doing this now is going to have a couple more of the zombies that we didn't attend with fucking us up. But speaking of fucking us up, I just got messed up by the camera there, which we're going to talk about a little later on. Right there, that guy then, if you speed down that corridor like I did and you don't hesitate, you should be perfectly fine. But if you hesitate even a second, he'll probably grab you. So this one, I have no doubt that a skilled runner of this game will be able to get past these zombies, but I didn't want to really mess with that, so instead I'm going to take them down with the pistol. And I'm doing this for a few reasons. The first is I'm not good enough to get past them. The second is we're going to frequent this passage quite a lot, so getting rid of them now is going to pay it forward for progress later on, which I think is just a hell of a lot smarter. And the good news is the pistol might not be the strongest weapon in the game, but it is incredibly efficient at just being a great utility all the time. It's good for any situation. There are times where I don't recommend it, but there are times when I definitely do. And on this game, when you knock zombies down, they are not dead. You have to then pump in some additional shots, or they'll continue coming. The best way to tell when they are dead is when the blood pools around them. And there's a lot of cues that can help you understand when you're dealing damage. With the audio, listening to how the zombie sounds, listening to the shots register, all this kind of information will tell you what's happening, but it can be quite tricky to pick it up if you're a new player. But pop out of here, I saved again, use the train key, get rid of it, and you have a choice here. It's entirely up to you. You can pick up the case, should you choose to, but because inventory is so precious in this game and there's going to be a lot of messing about with it, I decided to leave it until later on, and we're going to be moving over here. There's a little cutscene there introducing the boss that's coming with a little foreshadowing. And also, watch this, you see that? You might wonder why you didn't see the other room. Well, if you hold A as you approach a door, you will open it on the very frame you're able to do so without having to press it or tap it, which will make it a really good way of approaching things. However, I don't think it works when you examine items, so only do it on doorways. Pop in that room, pick up the hunting rifle, make sure you've grabbed the ice pick, and then pop on the knife. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But this works, guys, trust me. So, Sting is a bitch, but he's a bitch who can be an arsehole. You see, when he wraps his arms across his face, he's going to charge you. Once he does that, get out of there. But when he's not doing that, stab him. And he gets wicked invincibility after taking a hit, so you need to wait for his invincibility to run off and then stick him again. And this is all you're going to do. And if you notice, he's invincible for ages, but the moment he tries to do an attack, stab him and you'll interrupt it. If he puts his claws across his face, it means he's going to charge, and it cannot be interrupted, so you have to dodge it. But this is the best way of killing this boss without expending ammunition, and this, it looks like a joke, doesn't it, when you watch this, but trust me guys, it does work. However, this boss can be a massive dick if it wants to, and it can do nothing but charge. And if that does happen, if you stay at the doorway, he has to move to you. And then when he moves to you, you can stab him as he tries to attack you. And that can be a good strategy, but this is probably a quicker one. Now that he's dead, drop the knife. We're never going to use it again. Unless you're a very skilled player and you know what you're doing, the knife is a dangerous tool in this game. That being said, you can use it on certain bosses that are really easy to exploit, and it'll save you a ton of ammo, so I kind of wish I'd have kept it for that, but we'll talk about that a little later. So now that we've got the manhole opening thing, we can go back to the area where the dumb waiter was, we can give the ice pick to Rebecca to get her out of the room, and then we can progress onwards and hit the flap in the floor. I came over here to drop something in this room because I know on the way back we're going to be saving. In fact, I'm probably going to save here, because as I've mentioned guys, I'm going to save a lot, because on this game, whenever I take a hit, I reset, and when I reset, I go back to the last time I've saved, which means you're going to be doing a hell of a lot of progress if you're not saving frequently. And the problem with that is on this game, you can't save that frequently because you're limited to ink ribbons, which is a very archaic and old school way of doing it, but that's what Resident Evil always did before it moved on to RE4 and it changed the formula. And one of the things that I find really strange about this game is how that they've updated the controls, but they haven't updated the checkpoint system. And you're going to see me killing zombies here as well to clear this carriage out. So with the hunting rifle, if you aim up, you have a chance of getting a decap. But it's nowhere near as good as the shotgun we're going to get later on, so it's a bit of a bitch gun. I don't like it at all. That killed him though, which is good news because that's what we want. And how I do it is I wait for the zombie to try and attack me, and then I shoot while holding upwards. If it hits him and doesn't decap him and he doesn't fall down, move, watch. See that? That is literally the only thing you can do. And there are times when it won't work, he'll still get the grab. But if you try to decap them, it doesn't do it, they don't fall down, hold backwards on the analog and get the shit out of there. If you're lucky, you will dodge. But there are times when it hasn't worked for me, so just a little warning. But once again, this game is incredibly strict with that kind of stuff. Like, the mistakes happen and they hurt. For instance, in the other Resident Evil games, running past zombies was never that difficult, I didn't think, especially Resident Evil 2. On RE2, you could just kind of do it all day and you could get really good at it. Similar with 3, I think 3 had a dodge, which was one of the cool features of that game. And then all the games past that, it was really easy to dodge things. But in this game, they put you in scenarios where it's really difficult to do it. You've got to kind of do it on the very first entrance of the room where the zombies are all in the prime positions. And even then, it can be tricky. And it makes it really tough. And then add that to the fact that when a zombie bites you, it delivers all its damage immediately. Whereas in the other games, it was however long it bit you for, it was the damage that it did. So if you mashed the analog like a psychopath, you could get them off before they even did damage. And in this game, that's just not the case. They immediately get you with full damage, regardless of if you get them off really quickly. So everything in it seems to be tailored towards kicking your ass. And that's why I say that this is probably the hardest Resident Evil I've played on hard, or on the harder difficulties, because it bullied me. It really did. But join up once again with Rebecca, move over to the crawl space, use the item. On this, all you have to do, guys, hold the trigger while you're loading in, aim in by pressing L1 to get a lock on the enemy, and if you shoot immediately when you're locked on, you can hit both the dogs. I tried doing this with the pistol, and it didn't work so well. Put the shotgun on, and the first thing that happened is after 2 shells, they both died. Tried it again on the recording run, and you just watched it. So just hold aim while it's loading. As soon as it gives you control, tap L1 and then shoot. And if you do it correctly, you're loving it. But here's a quick puzzle. Pull the lever, swap out to your other character and use your other character to pick up the item. At this moment in time, your inventory is going to be pretty damn full, so it's going to get a little tricky to pick up anything that's not essential. And that's going to be one of the biggest criticisms and one of the biggest just hurdles in playing this game, is managing your inventory, because it's a nightmare. When you open this door, you're going to get that guy turn up, but if you hold forward on the analog, it will ignore the camera changes and you will always go towards the door, and if you're holding A, you'll hit the door and you can get through there without noticing him. So in this room, we're going to be going upstairs with Rebecca, so I recommend giving Billy a gun just in case anybody tries to challenge him. Make sure you equip it or he'll not have it and he can be attacked. And your team can be attacked when you leave them in places that aren't safe, so you want to be very careful. And once again, I'm trying to juggle with the inventory. I'm giving Rebecca the shotgun here because she has to fall through a roof and there's a solitary zombie in the room with her, and because he's so close, the shotgun's the best bet she has. And the only problem is the decap rate is not very high, so I'm going to try and decap this guy, but it might take 2 shells. That was some wonky detection letting me get in the roof, but whatever. So drop down, immediately aim at him, or move and aim at him, because then he'll start moving. Aim up, that didn't do it, that did. So now he's dead, we're good. Pick up the ring box. Inside here is going to be the circular puzzle piece, however I have to drop something. So I'm going to drop the healing item. You'll notice I've combined herbs. Do not do that, guys, or you'll miss out on another achievement / trophy. At this part of the recording, I had zero faith in my ability to do what you're about to watch. I didn't think I could do it, because this game beat me up so much on my practice run. So I was getting healing items, I was holding on to them, and I was literally through clenched teeth letting them go, because I was so paranoid that I would need them later on and I would regret it. And I can tell you now, you're not going to need them if you follow this to the T. You're going to do just fine. You need to have confidence, and I didn't. So you're going to see me void my achievement just then, and you're also going to see me picking up and messing around with herbs when it's completely futile. I just should have had a little bit more faith, George Michael style. But Rebecca has space for the briefcase now, so she can get the card that we're going to be needing to open up the front of the train that's going to lead to the end of this video. And I'm just going to mess with inventory and play as Billy. I prefer personally to play as Billy because I really liked him as a character when I first played this game. When I've played back through it, he's kind of shitty. His voice actor's good at times and terrible at others. He's given some just horrendous lines to say, and he doesn't really do too much, and then he disappears and we never see him again. And then there's Rebecca, who, you know, Rebecca's just one of those kind of characters. So it's, I don't know, I like playing as guys in games, I always have, and in this game it rewards you because Rebecca dies quicker. That being said, I think Rebecca can feel faster sometimes, even though I'm almost certain she's not. That being said, a nice tip for you if you don't know, if you unequip your weapons, you'll move faster. It's not a lot faster, but it's enough. And sometimes it's a good confidence boost knowing that you're at the fastest you can be, so feel free to experiment and get that extra bit of speed. Additionally, there's 2 interesting ways to guarantee that you can get out of rooms quickly / maximize on time wastage when you're moving around environments by using the dual analog stick controls. So when you're linked to your partner, you're able to control them with the right stick, and I recommend practicing this because I'm going to be using it a little bit on the fight that's at the end of the game, because the AI is very delayed. For some reason they will stand there and wait before they move, and it gets incredibly frustrating, especially when you're in a boss fight against something that has a lot of range. And additionally, you can navigate great places. For instance, there's a spider corridor coming up where the AI has a terrible time of getting through it and they get hit, and if you're guiding both characters it's really easy to get hit. So instead, all you do is you hold the analog in a direction, you have Rebecca run into a wall, safe, and then you go through the corridor as you normally would, and when you hit the door you'll warp her with you. And it's a great way of doing this. If you're not so good at doing that and you want another way that's less safe, you can tell her to stop at the beginning of an area, you can run through it yourself, and then before you hit the door you just press the same button again, come with me, and then once you're synced again, open the door and she'll teleport with you. So there's 2 methods of travelling the environment safely instead of having the AI walk it with you or controlling it yourself. But I'll let you practice and decide for yourself which one you prefer. Both have uses, but you know, sometimes it's not good enough. Sometimes you need, you know, the AI to do things for you, and if you're a speedrunner, which I know there's a lot of people that speedrun the Resident Evil games, this is one of the features that's going to save you the most time. Because if you have to go in a room and pick something up, you can have Rebecca or Billy wedged against a door, pick the thing up, swap, and then immediately swap to the other person and exit, and it enables you to get out of a room in a second rather than the 5 seconds it takes. But as you backtrack through this cabin, there's a zombie. If you hug that right wall, you should be able to get past him. In this room, there's too many zombies, so I'm going to try and get rid of them with the gun. If you can get through there by blasting it super early, then just good luck on you, but I think that looks really dangerous. That was a random headshot. Apparently, there's, I think, a 10% chance, or a 1 in 10 chance, that will happen on the pistol. And if you're curious about the pistols, the Colt that Billy's using is slightly more powerful, but I believe the Beretta fires faster, and later on when you get the custom handgun set, putting it on Rebecca's gun gives it the best advantage because it makes it better than what this would be if you gave it. Additionally, if you are somebody who likes trophies and achievements, you have to put the parts on both of the pistols to get the achievement for having all the weapons, because they both count as custom, as separate unique weapons, which is quite interesting. But don't worry about the time limit here, guys. When you get to the parts where you have to do the math, you can work it out, which is not too tricky to do, or you can just Google it and there's tons of answers online. When I was replaying through this and recording it, I had a bunch of things up on my PC so I didn't forget them. Namely, the lighter puzzle with the animals, because I can never remember that bullshit, and the leech one, because you can figure it out by going through the manuscript you pick up, but I didn't want to do it and I wanted to get it done. Be careful of him too. I could have probably got past him after he grabbed, because while you bait the grab, he's in recovery animations, but it's not for very long, so you have to move real quick. If you're still there when he recovers, the exact frame he recovers, he'll grab you. Trust me, I know. It's a pain in the dick. Like, hit stun on this game, virtually non-existent unless you're using acid rounds or a magnum. Some of the enemies on this game aren't even worth shooting because they take ridiculous amounts of damage. Just to give you an idea, guys, just how much damage certain enemies on this game take, a Leech Man, who's the biggest cunt in this game, and you're going to learn to hate this motherfucker, he can take 2 rockets. 2 rockets. That's how tough that bitch is. The bosses take 2 rockets. Some of them are probably less, but like, that's not right, man. That's way not right. But that was the puzzle there for that particular one. If you're wondering why your puzzle was different, it's picked from a pool of potential sums, so each one of them requires a different arithmetic. But that one, pretty simple. Watch the video back if you want to get the exact amount that I was watching. But the answers are generally 9 of one number and then 1 of something else, and you can get to it. So hopefully your times tables are not too weak since school and you can get through it just fine. But that is the end of the train, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.